Chapter 9. Break the Rules. When I say break the rules, I also mean the rules of this book. If you read what I have written, consider what I have to say, and then do something completely different that works for you, then this book has done its job. Ultimately, you are on your own path, and will have to find your own unique way to accomplish your goals. My guidelines are not universal laws, but rather means of accomplishing project completion in the arts, which are time-tested and effective when used by a wide range of people. If something isn't working for you, try something else. I break the rules all the time. I publish my books myself. I design my own book covers. A big no-no if you listen to most author advice. Even my own advice, hypocrite that I am. I write whatever I feel like. I don't write to market. I don't edit my YouTube videos. I break the rules because I know what works for me through experience. I also get a thrill from blazing a trail or doing things outside the norm. I try to write original, effective stories, and though I spend lots of time and effort making content on storytelling techniques, I have never and will never follow a strict guide for how to write a story, nor will I follow any method for constructing stories in some ideal way. Each book is an adventure for me, and if I had to write according to Save the Cat, a famous screenwriting manual by Blake Snyder, or similar writing manuals, I would exit the profession immediately. If I wanted to follow rules, I'd be driving a truck. Give yourself the freedom to innovate. Don't worry so much about how things are meant to be done, and instead do things the way you need to, so that you can get them done. For each project, try something new, whether it is a new approach to your method or a new aesthetic direction in your art. Always growing means always pushing to do something new and interesting, not just for yourself, but for the world. Break the rules was Arnold Schwarzenegger's second rule from his famous 6 Rules for Success USC commencement speech. It's hard to deny that he broke all the conventions of Hollywood, from his name and accent to his oversized physique. He believed in himself enough to know that just because nobody had done something before did not mean he could not do it. The way of doing things need not be the only way. This is why I don't get upset if somebody has a different approach than I have. I judge outcomes. If what you are putting out is great, it's great. It doesn't matter that you don't have a neutral thumb position on your guitar neck, or you wrote your first book in present tense. It doesn't matter to me if you paint digitally or with cheap craft paint. It doesn't matter if you write your first draft with no prose, just dialogue. If it works, it works. Full stop. Rolling the dice. The unfortunate truth about creative products is that there is no absolute guarantee of success, and the success you do work for is highly variable. Nobody can perfectly predict what the reception to a given work will be, and they certainly cannot predict the mega successes, the Harry Potters of the world. There is an element of uncertainty, and therefore chance, with every product you put out to the public. I have experienced this most profoundly on my YouTube channel, where I can see the dice rolls happening in real time. I have videos with hundreds of thousands of views, many of them made when I had only a few thousand or a few hundred subscribers. I made a Star Wars review in 2015 that ended up blowing up in a big way, making me pay real attention to my YouTube endeavors from that point forward. It was not something I expected at all. In the follow-up, I thought I could capitalize on that attention, and I did to a certain extent, but random events like that are often singular and difficult to duplicate. Even when I reviewed The Last Jedi, and predicted that it would get some modest attention, the actual attention I got was far beyond my expectations. I've seen the same effect on countless other videos. I throw up a video talking about some random thing on my mind, and it will get 10 to 100 times my normal viewership. Sometimes they get 1,000 times my normal viewership. This perpetuates an unfortunate cycle with most YouTubers. They achieve viral success randomly, then move to capitalize on the attention, only to despair when their viewership either slowly drops off or returns to some baseline level. It's not an easy way to make a career, but you will have a better chance at it by knowing what you are going up against. I've seen random outcomes with my books. Voices of the Void, an experimental short sci-fi horror book I put out in 2019, has ended up being my most popular book by sales, and I have never advertised it. I had expected nobody to like it besides me due to its odd construction. It was presented without any chapter or scene breaks, and the protagonist was the only character who could speak properly, otherwise he was talking to robots, and a girl who was mute. Therein lies part of the key to success. You have to break the rules. You can't expect to do the same thing over and over and get different results. You need to be willing to try new things and new variations of old things. This doesn't mean you should break all the rules all the time. Most mega successes have one foot in the familiar. Harry Potter, for example, is a variation of mage college fantasy, much like A Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, but with an element of escapist portal fantasy, like Edgar Rice Burroughs' John Carter books, and a mystery plot. The novelty was in the combination of previously established tropes, rather than in pure imagination. I think that's a good explanation, but a good explanation doesn't convert into a predictive model. If the success of Harry Potter could have been predicted, they never would have made Rowling change the name of the first book for the American audience, and they would have been pushing multiple other books just like hers. Novelty is an important element, perhaps even a necessary element, but it is not a sufficient condition for success. I'm not saying it is all dumb luck either, just that chance is part of success and is not predictable in the extreme areas of success. You can still write a book to market and reasonably expect to do well with it if you follow the time-tested techniques of good writing and include your best estimation of what readers want. It probably won't be the next Harry Potter, though. To do that, you have to break some of the rules. The classroom mindset. In most Western countries, we spend 13 years sitting in a classroom, maybe 20 if you want to get a doctorate. That's a huge amount of programming directed toward making a person operate the way the institution prefers for him to operate. The result is that people are conditioned to expect and desire certain things, namely clear and sequential instructions. The problem is, creativity is about working against such limitations. After all, if you were painting by numbers, you aren't really creating, you were iterating. I have had many people come to me over the years asking for specific guides for the correct way to write a story. They ask for the rules of writing, and some authors give them, including Elmore Leonard, and expect that following those rules will deliver them a good story. They are stuck in the classroom mindset, asking the teacher what they must do for their assignment, what the rules of the classroom are, and especially what things they should not do if they want to avoid a lower grade. The reality of writing books, and I will put out a writing manual sooner or later, is that there is no set of strict instructions, and any rules are made to be broken. What you have instead of rules are techniques, which are ways of doing things that you can generally expect to have a certain effect on the reader. Plot formats exist because time has tested certain event sequences and pacing by subjecting audiences to countless variations of them. Techniques are things you can use, ignore, or do variations of. Music theory is another example. The proper way to end a song is not a perfect authentic cadence, but whatever cadence evokes the effect you desire. A half cadence would leave the listener with a sense of longing, which may be exactly what you want. Non-functional harmony could be what you want, too. You are the artist. You make the rules for your own art, and you get to break whatever rules you want. You aren't a prisoner of a schoolroom desk anymore. You are a creator. Don't worry. So this is my final message to you. Don't worry about the rules. These are starting places, not ending places. These are paths to get you going on your journey, but where they take you is your decision alone. The final destination should be the completion of your projects. It's up to you to apply your self-knowledge and design the best process to get there. Actually, I lied. My final message is this. Thank you for reading my book.